we are just gonna do a little reflection on 2024. I think I grew so much as a person this year. I find that I'm the kind of person that always likes to look forward and jump to the future, but I think it's so valuable in helping you not only look back at what you accomplished, but look back like what you went through and make yourself just really proud of the year you lived. Welcome to the first official video of the Dream and Design 2025 series. I am thrilled for you to be here. This series I think is going to be life-changing, game-changing for myself and for so many of you who watch it and go through this series with me. I do something like this every year. This is probably my 7th year doing a New Year's series, and every year I change it up a little bit, but a lot of the fundamentals, my goal setting strategy, how I work through it stays the same. But this year, what's making this challenge and this series a little bit different and special is I created a Notion landing page for this. And so if you want more details on this series, maybe you're watching this video like weeks after it went up and you're like, wait, what, am I behind? No, you can go through this series at any time, but it's perfect to do right towards the end of 2024, going into 2025. If you want links to all the videos, free downloads, templates, things to follow along with these videos, all you have to do is click the Notion page in the description box. It'll take you to my custom page. It's a perfect, it's like a little website for this series, okay? So you don't have to search around on my channel for everything. You don't have to weed through description boxes. It's all gonna be right here for you. You can duplicate this page. In my next video, we're gonna be like creating a vision board and going over goal setting. And so you can actually edit this Notion template with your own goals and your own vision board and your word for the year and everything. So all you need to know for now is to go over there, take a look. You can make a copy of it. I'll be updating it when new videos in this series go live. You can shop Dream Daily. There's a hidden discount code if you're needing a new planner or calendar or journal for the new year. So lots of fun stuff all on that page. I'm gonna link it below. And I'm really excited. I had so much fun designing it and creating it for you guys. For me, whenever I go on it, I'm just like instantly inspired and feel motivated to set some new goals. And I hope you feel the same. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is the first video, and today we're just doing a little prep for 2025, okay? You don't have to worry about like setting goals, creating habits, creating a new schedule. Today we're taking it slow, and we are just gonna do a little reflection on 2024. I find that I'm the kind of person that always likes to look forward and jump to the future, and so I sometimes don't always want to have this first part, this reflection time, but I think it's so valuable in helping you not only look back at what you accomplished, but look at back like what you went through and like how you faced different challenges that may have happened in your year, and make yourself just really proud of the year you lived. I think if we just look at goals, it's like, honestly guys, this past year, I didn't achieve a lot of the goals that I set out for myself for. But 2024 was one of the most pivotal years in recent years for me. I'm calling it my pivot year. I had so much change, a lot of challenges, but a lot of growth and change through those challenges. And so even though like if I listed out my 2024 goals, as you'll see in my goal setting video, I didn't achieve a lot of them. However, like I said, I think I grew so much as a person this year, and I'm really thankful for this year. And I'm gonna be talking through all of that and how I made those changes and how I like changed my life and changed the trajectory of my life this year, all in this video. So if you're looking to have a pivot year for yourself, if you're like, you know what, I think I'm at that point, Hannah, where I know I need to make a lot of changes in my life, or I know the next year's gonna be challenging for whatever reason, stay till the end of this video, because this first part, we're gonna be like reflecting and journaling together. And then the second half of the video, I literally just wanted to break down my year by month and talk through like how I made changes and how I like pivoted and what helped me get through those months of change and pivoting. So I'm excited for this. It's gonna be a little bit different than maybe some of the other videos in this series, but I think it's really important and shouldn't be skipped. Now let's just go ahead and jump into how to actually prep and reflect on the previous year. Okay, so to start a reflection process, I want you to section off some time in the next few days for yourself to do this. You can do all of this in one sitting, but it's kind of a lot of journaling. And so for me, I've been taking my morning journaling sessions over the past few days, and I will continue to do this for the next few days to answer some of these prompts. I basically use ChatGPT for this. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I didn't come up with all these prompts myself. I had ChatGPT help me come up with some ways to reflect on 2024. And so if you want to be able to like print out this list of journal prompts, there's of course a freebie for you guys. I basically just typed all this out, and it is again all on the Notion page. You can go there, see all these prompts for yourself, print it out if you don't want to have your phone next to you, and work through it for yourself. Also, have to shout out my Dreamer journals. This is our newest coffee color. I think it's so pretty. It's a linen hardcover journal, perfect for beginners. We have lots of colors in these, and again, if you check out the Notion and you follow along with this series, you can get a very big discount on these products. So if you do need a new journal, I got one for you guys. I'm just gonna read through these and then I'll also put them there. The first one is, what are the 3 things I'm most proud of achieving this year and why? Number 2, how have I grown or changed as a person in 2024? What contributed to this growth? What was the biggest challenge I faced? What did I learn from it? What is one mistake I made in 2024? How did it shape me? What is the happiest moment of 2024? I actually like to write out a few happy moments because I think a lot of the times when we're journaling about our previous year, we get like caught up in the challenging parts and the sad parts, or maybe like the really goal focused parts, but sometimes you just have a really great day. Or like, I know I had an amazing 4th of July and I want to talk about it. Or I had an amazing vacation with my friends and I want to remember it and I want to write about it. And so make sure you're staying positive too, not just talking about like what was hard and what you went through, but writing down the happy moments too. Who were the most influential people in my life this year? I've never journaled about this, and so I'm excited to answer that one. What habits served me well in 2024? Which ones held me back? How did I take care of my physical and mental health this year? What am I most grateful for in 2024? And then how can I give my if I could give my January 2024 self one piece of advice, what would it be? And so I'm going to make myself a little coffee. I recommend making yourself a little drink of choice. Maybe if you're doing this in the evening, you can have some kombucha, some wine, or if it's during the day, you could have some coffee or tea or hot chocolate. And we're just gonna sit down with a journal. I highly recommend putting pen to paper. Don't just do this in your head. Don't just do this like on your notes app. Really sit down with pen and paper and answer these questions and put your phone away, put away distractions. So I'm gonna take some time to reflect on these journal prompts. Like I said, I've been splitting it up into like different days, but do it all at once, do it in a few different days, and then we're gonna come back and go from this. Now that you have all these pages filled with your reflections, filled with your memories, filled with your thoughts and feelings, don't have to share it with anyone. I'm not going to be sharing mine with you. This is very personal and it should stay personal. It should stay just between you and yourself. But what's great to do is to now look through it all, maybe like take a day off and then come back and read what you had written and kind of look for any reoccurring themes like accomplishments or challenges. I know for me, like there are 3 or 4 big things that happened in my life that really like changed my year and outlined my year. And so you maybe want to like look through that, or like habits that you were struggling with. And maybe that's something then to work on in the new year. Basically just look for any key takeaways, any highlights, moments, and then don't do anything with that right now. Like I said, wait till the next video, but this is just the reflection portion. Okay, so now getting into what I talked about at the beginning, I want to take a moment to talk about how I changed my life this year and how you can too. So this is going to be focused a lot on my year, but I want there to be little parts that you guys take away if you feel like you're going to have a really transformative year in 2025, or you want to have a transformative year, you want to kind of have a pivot year, whether it's relationships, work, living situations. I kind of had all 3 of those things, and so I wanted to just talk through my transformative year and what helps me get through it. Okay, so first I wanted to break it down by month. I just feel like that's the easiest way for me to go through this. So I will say before this year even started, I wasn't super excited about the new year. I usually am really excited. Of course I did my series. I tried to create content to help you guys like create your vision board, set new goals, all those things, but I just wasn't personally feeling excited. I don't think I even stayed up till midnight on New Year's Eve for a lot of reasons. My family was traveling and stuff, but also I just was like, oh, it's just the start of this year that I know is going to be challenging. I just knew in my heart. And so I'm feeling a lot more hopeful for 2025. I feel like I put in the work and went through a lot of stuff in 2024 to now have a more fruitful 2025, which I cannot wait for. If you're feeling that right now, if you're like, honestly, guys, I'm not really excited for the new year. I feel like I'm gonna have to go through a lot this next year. There needs to be change that needs to happen in my life. I was there last year. I was in your shoes. January started out pretty strong with my new roommate moving in, Ashley. She's been in a few videos, Disney vlogs. I love her so much. This was such an answered prayer. You never know when you have a random roommate. We had mutual friends, but like we really met each other mostly when she moved in, and it just turned out to be so great. But that was still like something new that I had to work through and like discover and go with in January, which is like a new living situation, new living with a whole new person, a stranger. So that kind of like kickstarted my year off in that change perspective of like getting outside of my comfort zone and having this new roommate move in, which again turned out to be so great. But that was kind of the start of my year. February, I noticed I started making small changes. Like I knew change was coming because I think looking back, I started making changes in my appearance. Like I cut my hair shorter, like probably up to here. I tried to get like my brows laminated, which I didn't really end up liking, or it didn't really do much, but I was just like changing things to my physical appearance. And I find that that's something that I do. This is where the journaling really came in handy because I noticed that, and I noticed like in my past too, whenever I start to feel like I need to make a big change in my life, I start doing changes to me personally, like my physical appearance. Other people do that? I don't know. You know, like the whole thing's like getting bangs post breakup. I don't really do that after. I do it like before I do all the change. I don't know if that's just something that I do or if that's common, but I started doing that. I started taking some trips that were really great and reflective. Going to my family's beach house was also really nice to do throughout the whole spring, and just like I feel so centered when I'm at the beach. I feel so like hopeful and calm. And so like taking those trips throughout the spring really helped me mentally. March, I had a lot of new Dream Daily launches. We did hoodies and getting ready to launch like the planner tabs and stuff, but I just wasn't feeling that motivation for my business, and that scared me a lot. And I was like, this is what I've always loved to do. I've always had this business for the past 5 years, and I just am like not feeling the same inspiration, motivation that I normally do. And honestly, that started to worry me. And I was like, do I need to come up with something to kind of help me feel financially stable while also taking some of the pressure off of my own businesses? I knew something was coming. April is when I officially made the decision to end my long-term relationship. I'm not going to go into details. It's been like 9 months since then, right? 9-10 months, I don't even know. And I did a whole video this summer, like midsummer, a few months after it happened, breaking down a lot of details. And so I'm going to link that video below if you guys are interested. I get very open and personal. I'm also going to link a podcast I did last month or 2 months ago on the 80/20 pod, where I open up a little bit more about that decision and like how I made it and the feelings of that. So I'm not going to go through that in this video just because I've talked about it in these other places. But if you feel like you're about to go through a breakup, or you're going through a breakup and you're the one who ended it or something, and you want that perspective, I'm going to give you some content to watch, because that kind of stuff really helped me when I was going through this. So yeah, we were together for almost 4 years. Obviously that was like such a big life change for me. And so that was the first big thing in my year that really made me, well, I guess the roommate situation, that was like one big thing. And then the second big thing was getting out of a 4-year-long relationship. That really changes the trajectory of your life. And so that was like the first big pivot. And honestly, May was tough. On the outside, I was doing well, actually doing very well, but it's just like, no breakup's easy, just dealing with it, the ups and downs with work. I wasn't feeling motivated to do my job, and my job is so personal that I didn't want to talk about the breakup and stuff online yet and things. So it was just like a lot of trying to figure out what I was doing and like all of this. I did go on I went on a beach trip with my friends that was so great and so healing, and just was so nice to like step away from my day-to-day life and feel connected to them and take a break. And what I started doing to kind of help me was I focused on my work, my friendships, and a little bit of personal growth. And I feel like that really helped me get through the breakup, is like focusing on those 3 aspects. And my faith. My faith was big throughout this whole year, which I'll get into at the end. But I want to share a resource that I really loved during this time especially. Is every morning I would listen to this audiobook called The Pivot Year. It's actually a physical book too. I'm asking for it for Christmas so I can have the physical book, because I listened through about half of the audiobook on Spotify. And it's called The Pivot Year by Brianna Weist. It says 365 days to become the person you truly want to be. And that's when in my mind I was like, okay, I'm calling 2024 my pivot year. I'm pivoting my life in the sense of relationships. And then eventually I added another job, which kind of pivoted my career. But this book was just every day, like it's like a little devotional, but it's not connected to religion. It's just like inspirational, motivational words. It had some great points that I was just like re-listening to. Let me play you a clip. And it's kind of cheesy, but like sometimes in your life when you're at a low, you need cheesy. You need this kind of motivation.
Nobody is brave at the beginning. Bravery is dug out of the deepest part of us, often by necessity. It is when you allow your love for something to grow a little larger than your fear about it.
So obviously that's just a little sample, but listening to that at the start of every morning really like just gave me new perspectives and put me in a good headspace to kind of get through the day. And like I said, I want the physical book now to like continue reading through, but that was something that really helped me, along with journaling, along with, again, focusing on my faith, my friends, my work, and my personal growth. That like really helped me get through May and June. And just feeling like, okay, I have my whole life trajectory has changed. Like my life has just kind of opened up to me. Being in a long-term relationship, you're obviously tied to that person and where they live. It affects your job, where you're going to live, like where your future is going to be, when you're going to get married, when you're going to have kids, like all of that is kind of laid out. But when you're single again, the whole world becomes a possibility. And part of that is very scary, but I was trying to look at that as like, okay, I have all these opportunities and options open to me now that I didn't have a month ago. And so that's kind of was my mindset throughout that big shift. Then it's funny because on that beach trip with my friends, I remember sitting on the beach one morning. I went on a little walk by myself. I was listening to the Pivot Ear in my headphones as I walked to the beach, and I sat on the beach and I watched the seagulls, and I just like did a little journaling prompt on my phone. And I was just like, God, I feel like there's something ahead for me, and I feel like this was a big change that I like listened to you through, and I'm leaning on you, like what's my next thing. And on that beach trip, I think that same day, I actually had a virtual interview for this new job that they had reached out to me about, which, as you guys know, I now run the TikTok for this local supplement company called Be Amazing. And my first interview was that day at the beach when I was like journaling about my next steps, and everything just fell into place. I felt really aligned. I felt like I wanted to do something and work for a business that I didn't own and just learn more, connect with people, be able to go into office and have that community, and just also be a distraction. Like I said this in a few vlogs this summer, being able to go into that office and step away from my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions from the breakup was really helpful for me and my mental health. So that brings me to July, when I started this new job. It's part-time, it's 25 hours a week, but on top of my other two jobs, YouTube and Dream Daily, it's very busy trying to do it all, but I wanted to be busy. I wanted the distraction. I wanted to feel more financially stable, be able to go on trips with my friends and not feel like I'm breaking my bank account. You know, I wanted to have that flexibility, and this job provided all of that and more. And like I said, meeting new people, all of that. So then in August, I was still trying to find my groove with like working through all this stuff, having a busier schedule. It was like drinking from a water hose. I just feel like I was drowning in work, but I'm slowly getting the hang of it. I also got really plugged into my church in August. I talked about this in my resolutions video, but like joining my church's softball league and joining a small group and stuff with my church was a great way of feeling like plugged in and feeling like I'm finding a new community as well this year. September, I was getting excited for fall. I was doing well mentally. Like, honestly, I felt like I was like, okay, I made all these amazing changes this summer in my life. Like, I'm on the up and up, my year's improving. I was a little bit burnt out from work, but besides that, I was good. And then in October, I've talked about this as well on my Instagram and YouTube. October just felt like my world went crushing down around me. It was one of the hardest months. So many things affected it. I'm not going to get into everything because I've talked about it, but the biggest one was like right at the beginning of the month, literally the week of my 25th birthday, my cat Spruce, my everything, my little boy, got hospitalized for over a week, almost died right in front of me. It was very tough, and I literally want to cry about it every time because it was like one of the hardest things I went through. It was awful. Wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but praise God, through lots of prayers and medicine and amazing people at the hospital, the veterinary hospital, he is with me today, and he's still on medication and stuff and still recovering, but he's recovering so well, and I'm just so thankful because, of course, my camera battery dies right in that moment, but I'm going to wrap it up because I talked about it, I think, in my November reset video, just everything that happened in October that just felt like one thing after the next. And it was a real low month for me, but that's okay because God is good, and I knew it wasn't going to last forever. And November was much better. November was like one of the fastest months of the year for me went by so quickly. I started feeling like myself again, felt like things were looking up. And then now in December, I'm just like finishing up the year, excited to take some time with my family, excited to make new plans for the new year. And that brings me to kind of these takeaways that I had from this being a pivot year. So if you're expecting 2025 to be a very transformative year for yourself, or you know you're going to have to go through some changes, some challenges, maybe you need to make a pivot in your relationship, in your career, just overall life. I mean, there's so many ways that things could change in a year, but let me just give you a few takeaways that I had. I'm, of course, not an expert. I'm still working through all this stuff, but hopefully it can help. And look, the sun is coming out while I'm talking about this. Wow. First off, if you have a gut feeling that something needs to change, listen to it. The Taylor Swift song, you know when it's time to go. Like, you know, your body will tell you if something doesn't feel right. And so if you're getting that feeling and you don't know how to discern what it's saying, again, love journaling for this. I talk about this in my podcast episode that I'm linking below. It's a great way to like listen to yourself. And then also if you're a Christian or you're religious at all, or spiritual, then it's also a great way to hear from God as well. And so that's kind of my next thing as well, is I learned to really lean on God's plan for my life this year, which is something that I've struggled with my whole life. I'm like very type A, number 3 Enneagram, just like to achieve and make plans. You guys know this about me. And so for my life, I've always like had this plan and this vision for my life. And I was just so gung-ho on, you know, maybe certain things working out a certain way, living in a certain place, whatever. This year I kind of took a step back and was like, you know what, maybe the plan that I kind of made up in my head for myself when I was, 18, isn't the best plan for my life. Like, God knows so much better than my 18-year-old self, my 20-year-old self, my 25-year-old self, my 80-year-old self. Like, he's always going to know what's best for me. And so instead of me trying to pigeonhole my life to fit this mold that I had envisioned for myself with career and everything else, let me take a step back, give it to God, and realize that maybe he's going to take me in a direction that I never would have imagined for myself, but it's actually going to be the best thing that's ever happened to me. And so that's kind of the limbo part that I'm in right now. And it's hard to be in this season of just waiting and like patiently waiting to see and like trusting in him and trying not to control every little piece of my life. And it's hard. And I think that's why I still create goals. I still am like going to work towards things in 2025. But overall, I'm not like, this has to happen or I'm gonna not be happy, or this has to happen, or I had a terrible year. Like 2024 really taught me to, yes, like work on yourself, set goals, strive for something, put in the effort. But overall with life, like if things don't work out, it's God redirecting you, and it's not because you're a failure. It's not because you're not good enough. It is because God is trying to show you something better that's more aligned with his purpose for you. So I don't talk about my faith in every video, but I wanted to for this one because I leaned on it so much this past year, and especially like October, like with the health scare and stuff. Like I just don't think I would have been able to make it through if it wasn't for my faith. Like I really leaned on it. And I just also want to share this little verse with you guys. Psalm 55:22 says, "Cast your cares on the Lord and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken." And this is literally what I had to learn to do. I just had to cast my cares on God and be like, you know what? I don't have to worry about my next relationship. I don't have to worry about my career. I don't have to worry about how much money I'm going to make. I don't have to worry about where I'm living next year because God can worry about it. Like I can just focus on my relationship with him, put in the daily effort that I know I can do, and then like put all this stress and anxiety and worries on him because he can actually he's able to hold it. Like we're able to cast our burdens on him. And so that's what I've been trying to learn how to do. And it's something that's not easy, especially for someone like me who's such a planner. But overall, that is how I kind of allowed myself to pivot this year. And I know I keep saying like I changed the trajectory of my life. I had a pivot year. That's just the language that we use, you know, in our day-to-day. But in all honesty, like God is who changed the trajectory of my life, and God is who really pivoted me this year away from things towards certain things, and I think he's going to do the same in 2025. So yeah, I know I've been using that language of like I did this, but really this year I just have to give all glory to God, and he was the one who helped me get through these decisions, and I feel like aligned when I made these decisions, and that just gives me peace, because I think when you're a Christian you kind of can feel when a decision you make for your life is something that you decided and you're like steering in the opposite direction of where God wants you. And you just feel a lot more peace and calmness when you make a decision that is aligned with what you know God's telling you to do. So all of that to say, I hope you guys had a good 2024. I'm sure a lot of you went through similar things that I went through. Some of you went through harder things, different things. It's, you know, life is crazy. I just hope that this video and this time of reflection for yourself can be helpful to be able to look back and be proud of yourself and to be able to see what you accomplished, but also know like life is not about accomplishments and your year is not about your goals and resolutions, even though I'm doing this whole series about it. There's really so much more to life, and it's a beautiful thing, even though it can be challenging. I'm so excited for 2025, looking forward, and next video is going to be all about looking forward. It's going to be focusing in on our goals, doing my quarterly goal setting strategy, and I'm very excited to just like look at Pinterest and get inspired with you guys. And so be on the lookout for that video. Again, I'm gonna tell you, go to the Notion page for everything you may need for this series and to just get a little boost of inspiration yourself. And let me know what you guys are wanting to see in the next upcoming videos. I love you guys so much. This is probably my last video before Christmas, so I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate, and I will see you all in my next video. Coming very soon. Bye.